basically, you knew they were challenging you on it, and you went into the game saying, I'm going to prove to them I can do it, even if you couldn't quite do it yet. The reason I ask is, it felt to me like Giannis yesterday knew they were challenging him to shoot jump shots, and he fell into their trap. Like, it's like he gave them, it was almost like he was trying to prove a point that he didn't need to prove. Am I reading too much into that, or like, can you relate to that? Did you see the same thing?
Well, I mean, you do have to play your game, right? You do have to find that balance of playing your game and, of course, working on those weaknesses, and that so you have to improve on. And look, he's going to have to knock down a couple of open jumpers, but the Bucks are in their wheelhouse when he's being aggressive, when he's attacking the paint, when he's collapsing the defense, and then they're getting to that ball movement on their close, working on closeouts and continuing to move the ball. I think, he can't settle too much. If you look at these highlights, they're down already 20 points. And look, it's not going to be hinging on him shooting jump shots. They've got to get stops. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If KD, KD, you're probably not going to be able to hold him under 35, 40 points a game. But if he's shooting at the clip that he's shooting at, it's impossible to beat these guys. So they're going to have to get KD down under 50% from the field. They're going to have to start playing better defense. And, Giannis is going to have to be much more aggressive and stop letting him off the hook. I mean, again, they're down, they got down big, and usually you're not going to get back into the game shooting jumpers. So I expect Giannis to be extremely aggressive in these next couple games. And I expect the Bucks to get back to their game, because if they don't, I mean, they put themselves against the wall pretty quickly. We'll see how they respond.
Yeah, Chris, I hear you on the defensive stuff, man, but it will help if Giannis can develop a shot. You were a guy that developed a shot, through the years. I mean, you always had that corner shot, but then when you talk about shooting from deep, as time went on, you got better. So maybe he needs to come down to Austin and work with you this offseason. So give your boy a call. But I want to talk about the Nets here, man. You guys put together a big three down in Miami. When you saw the Nets, you saw James Harden, those guys put this team together, what was the number one thing that you thought they needed to overcome to be able to be in this position today?
I think their biggest challenge, of course, is always going to be sharing the ball, what kind of continuity they're going to have on offense, how they're going to be moving on a string together on defense, and, of course, how they're going to play together, how they're going to gel as a team. And more importantly, of course, how the other guys on the team, the bench players, the role players, how they're going to accept and excel at their role, and really just dealing with the pressure. I think, they're the title favorites, of course, even without Harden. I think a lot of people still have them picked to win. For them, it's just going to be dealing with the pressure and dealing with those moments of when it's more or people are trying to make it more than just the game. So as these playoffs advance, they do get harder. We'll see how they continue to respond. And really, I mean, they're gelling together nicely. They're gelling quickly. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond when they're challenged, because they will be challenged. I don't expect everything to be as easy as it's been. But, with that said, they have a lot of talent on that team. They're playing well together. The bench is stepping up every time. We'll see how it goes as the playoffs continue.
Quickly, that first finals that you guys made it to, it seemed like there was a ton of pressure on y'all, like the weight of the world on y'all. I don't feel that from the Nets. Do you feel that the Nets have the same pressure that you guys had down in Miami?
No, it's a bit different. People seem to like this team a little more. They're backing this team a little more, which is fantastic. It's good to just see them, like I said, come together as a team, gel together as a team, because that's a difficult thing. With that said, the pressure on them is to win, just like it is always. The Eastern Conference Finals, the finals, those are very, very hard situations. And they have some things to work out with Harden not being available right now, with him having that nagging injury. I'm interested also to see, with them not playing a whole regular season together, if fatigue will be a factor. We're seeing KD play at a high level like he's capable of, Kyrie playing at a high level, but with struggling with injuries the way they have all year, not having their feet under them, I love to see how if endurance will play a factor in these playoffs.
Chris, I want to ask you about the margin of victory. This is a quote from Giannis after the game. At the end of the day, if you lose by 1 or lose by 30, it's still the same. Still you lose. Do you buy that? Do you buy that, like, oh, if it was a close game, the Bucks would feel the same way, the fact that they got blown out?
I know what Giannis is doing, and it is true, but no, that is look, we're not in the Bucks locker room. There's a difference, okay? Now, with that said, we're going to see what the Bucks are made out of, okay? Getting drug on the road 2 games in a row, that's a bad situation to be in, but they're going home. We'll see how they respond. All the pressure is on for game 3. We've got to see a heartbeat. We've got to see some life, because that's embarrassing. And if you consider yourself a championship team, you're going to have to respond. Not that you'll lose by 30s on some nights. That might happen, but it's all in the response. They're going to have to win a game in Brooklyn. So, they're in a predicament. The playoffs have started. They're in a predicament right now. We're going to see if they're serious about their championship beliefs.
Well, Chris, do them a favor. Send them a DVD of your guys' Game 4 of the 2013 Finals. You guys lost by, I think, 35 in San Antonio to go down 2-1, and then you came back the next night and you beat them, and then you ended up winning the series in 7. By the way, in that series, everyone's like, oh, did Ray Allen hit the biggest shot in NBA history? Maybe, maybe not. You know who got the biggest rebound in NBA history? Unquestionably, this man right here. There is no second place. Chris Bosh got that rebound. But I want to talk to you about Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin wanted to be in movies, comedian, a lot of stuff in LA to go along with basketball. That's not a shot at him. I love Blake as a guy. But he was clear about that. Like, he was expanding his brand. He signs a maximum contract in LA. They put his jersey in the rafters before they signed him to the contract, saying, this is what we're going to do. And 4 months later, they're like, hey, what city in America is the exact opposite of LA? How about Detroit, Michigan? We're sending you there. And it appears it sapped some of his basketball soul. And he is getting some criticism right now for playing so well in an odd way, basically saying he was tanking it in Detroit to get out of there. I don't know if he was or he wasn't. I wouldn't blame him if he was. He deserved to get out of there and have a chance to compete. How surprised are you that Blake has been, to me, the 4th most important net? And since one of the big 3's been out a lot of the year, he's been de facto the 3rd most important net most nights after what he had looked like the last couple years in Detroit.
That's a weird thing to criticize somebody for playing well. I've never really heard of that, especially during the playoffs. You're supposed to up your game with a championship caliber team and in the playoffs, right? I don't know much about his situation before. I'm pretty sure it was quite disappointing to go from one team to another, to go from your home in LA to trying to figure things out on the fly in Detroit, and really trying to, have a resurgence in your career. Look, if Blake Griffin plays well, you're not going to be able to beat those guys. If he's scoring 18, 20 points a game, getting 10 rebounds, if he's getting 18 and 10, 20 and 10 a game, you're not going to be able to beat him. And he's been able to find a great fit really in the last couple of weeks, really settling into his role since the playoffs started. If he brings energy, if he plays defense, and if he just does the things that he can do, and especially hitting that outside shot, he's going to be able to spread the floor. He can play that spread 5 if they need him to in the crunch time situations. And he can just be a contributor on the floor. And if you have KD and Kyrie making plays for you, and if you've got your hands ready and you can put the ball in the hole, you're going to excel. Blake can do all of those things. And that's on top of his explosiveness in the half court and in the full court situation. So yeah, I expect him to continue to play well. I expect him to continue to take